Welcome to Thoroughbred 360, insights, stories and strategy from the commercial world of thoroughbred racing with your host, Bruce Slade. Welcome to episode 9 everybody. I am fresh out of the car from the Hunter Valley. Spent all last week going through yearlings heading towards the Magic Millions January sale. Why do we get away and see yearlings before the sale? Well, the reason is the catalogue is big, 1,000 horses. And we really want to narrow that number of horses down by the time the auction comes so that we can spend more time on the horses that really matter, the horses that we think can make a difference to our stable, spend more time differentiating the high rating horses, spend more time finding support to buy those high rating horses, valuing them accurately. And I can't tell you how valuable it is when you've got horses marked the same and you're able to see them back to back to back to really prioritize and be selective, because at the end of the day, we have limited resources, limited time, limited box space, and we want to make sure that every box is filled with a potential future Group 1 horse. It's a great group dynamic. I went with the Magic Millions organised group last week, run by Barry Bowditch, Dane Robinson, James Dawson from Magic Millions, about 20 people, syndicators, agents, owners, trainers, and, you know, a really enjoyable dynamic. People, you know, that you respect, people that you get on well with, people that obviously involved in the same industry, and it's great to sort of bounce ideas off each other, pick up different things, you learn a lot, you have a lot of laughs, and at the end of the day, hopefully we come away better for it, not only from, you know, keeping our minds open and learning more, but also coming away with a much smaller, concise group of horses to look at come Magic Millions time to make sure we get as much right as we can for Adrian and Gay. On to the week's racing results. Well, the big races, the big money races were, of course, everywhere. Amazing Australia, just incredible. The $2 million Ingham in Sydney, that was won by Yorkshire, for a group put together by Mark Player and Rob Ralston. Congratulations, guys. Trained by John O'Shea and Tom Charlton, a son of Snitzel. Needs no introduction. Snitzel doing Snitzel things on the weekend, his progeny winning big races. Takeaways from the race, I guess, how grateful we are to have these amazing rich money races, you know, off season for Sydney really in the summer. A great celebration of a family that's, you know, had such an incredible impact on our game, the Ingham family, and Yorkshire. You know, another product of this incredible Snitzel crossing over this American speed blood. We've seen it with Switzerland in recent times, and we've just seen it here again. Obviously, bred and raised at Newgate Farm. Shout out to all the team there. Yorkshire. I guess this American success of their mares comes down to two things. Great outcross. We're saturated with Danehill blood, and Snitzel in particular, if you have a look at his best horses, he loves an outcross, that hybrid vigour, and he's getting that through that American breeding line, but he's getting the speed horse, you know, when it's crossed over that American speed, whether it be dirt or turf, and we've seen that again through Yorkshire, so keep an eye out that. We're not going to have many more lots or groups of Snitzels coming through, but something, you know, two things you can look for in terms of increasing your probability of success with his progeny is an outcross pedigree and speed in its bottom side if you're looking for that horse that can change your life, the slip winner, the Doncaster winner, like Yorkshire might be in a few months' time. Over in the West, Rey Megnerio put together a terrific performance, actually a well-deserved performance to win that $1 million race. Of course, the third week in a row, Perth have staged a $1 million event. Overpasses in that race ran huge as well. Cosmic Crusader dropping back from the northerly 1800 metres to the 1400 metres of the Gold Rush ran huge, but it was Rey Megnerio who, of course, ran so well in the winter bottom 2 weeks ago, up to 1400 metres. He got the job done for Robbie Griffiths and the team there. Awesome for Robbie. Puts a lot in. Breeds plenty, buys plenty. Nice to see him get a big $1 million race with a really, you know, deserving horse in Rey Megnerio. Down at Cranbourne, there was the running of the Supernova. So again, $1 million race, incredible Australia. This is a slot race, of course. Southside Racing came up with their own slot race concept, which of course included the Meteorite over 1,200 metres, and then that rolled into the Supernova over 1,400 metres. Now, interesting, the slot holders, there's 14 slot holders for these races, and you pay $100,000 and you get a slot in each race. So you get a slot in the Meteorite, which is run at the end of November, and then a slot in the Supernova. Now, of course, 1,200 metres into 1,400 metres, there's quite a few horses with a bit of crossover. I think 4 of the 14 slots, so 4 horses that ran in the Meteorite, ran in the Supernova, which is interesting, I thought. Less than a third of the field, which is, I think, interesting, just given, the distance profiles aren't that different, and of course the slot holders are the same, so that was interesting. The Supernova won by Warnie on Saturday. Another big race success for Ciaron Maher and his team. Another big race success for Bennett Racing, who have had a monstrous year for them and all their owners. Interesting thing about Warnie, one, he was on a Ciaron Maher slot, so that's another little prize money boost there for Ciaron Maher Racing. He was a breeze-up purchase from the UK to Warnie, so I'm had a bit of dinner with Nathan, Bennett and Phil Wells there from Bennett Racing on Thursday, and they mentioned it's been a concept that's worked well for them. It's something that they look forward to doing again in 2026, and of course Warnie, bought as a 2-year-old out of the breeze-up sales, raced in Europe initially for them, has come out here now and is running terrifically well, as you've seen, including now a Supernova win. So well done, guys. Big result again. Just to touch on the Meteorite, that was, end of November, won by Jigsaw. We've talked about that initially, but just so you know, that was a Moonee Valley Racing slot. So Moonee Valley Racing, Ciaron Maher Racing winning the 2 slot races there as the slot holders outside of the horse racing ownership groups. Slot racing, very interesting. We have now obviously the Everest, which has been the first and foremost and the biggest slot race in Australia, the richest sprint race on turf in the world, or the richest turf race on the world. We've got the Sunlight at Magic Millions. We've got the Meteorite and the Supernova with Southside Racing. We've got the Quokka in the West too. So we might do something later in this week, just tying all those in and having a look at how those different slots work, and maybe look at which ones are the most interesting and viable and profitable going forward. This week, of course, has been International Week in Hong Kong, and wow, Winifred and his team at the Hong Kong Jockey Club, do they know how to put on an event. It really is terrific. The week-long event, including the Wednesday night racing at Happy Valley, the barrier draws, the galas, and of course the big international meeting, which was raced last night on Sunday, including some of the game's very biggest racing stars, horses, trainers, jockeys, just sensational. Just a quick touch on the International Jockeys Challenge on the Wednesday at Happy Valley. It's something that really grabbed me this year, which perhaps previously it hadn't. Jockeys are serious heroes of our sport. A lot of youth engagement in terms of jockeys and followers. Of course, the kids, asking for their goggles and whips being thrown to the crowd, that type of thing. Thereafter, race celebrations create so much theatre. They attract, of course, a lot of punting dollar and a lot of interest from owners and, of course, breeders. So, it's a concept I think really took a different light on this year, watching the races or looking at the races the next day, more in particular, because it's quite a late night, so I was in bed before they even started. But it's probably something we could look at here in Australia. I can imagine a celebration of jockeys, maybe some fundraising for the National Jockey Trust, for instance, where we got the leading metro riders from all the states of Australia plus New Zealand, got them all together in one day somewhere, and horses race there as they normally would. They get randomly selected. One of these leading riders, have a bit of a jockeys challenge, some prizes, and no doubt create a lot of interest, and it might be a nice day to celebrate, like I say, jockeys and heroes, some of the heroes of our sport, and maybe engage the younger generation too. So just an idea I pulled out just watching the races there Wednesday. I think they do it really well. The international meeting, I think obviously was pretty straightforward. All the big stars, Kaying Rising, amazing, Romantic Warrior, amazing, an important horse for Hong Kong, having come out of their Hong Kong international sale too, and of course they're big supporters of Australia, New Zealand and sales globally, so that was terrific. Australia got their voyage bubble up to win the Hong Kong Mile, so great for Australia, great for Thoroughbred, who bred that son of Deepfield. Well done, team. And of course the Europeans got involved too in the act with their Hong Kong Vase winner, a race they win very often, and as we've said before, just hard to beat the European staying horses. Sosi very, very good there. So those are the big results, rightful results, and gave the big crowd there plenty to cheer. Plenty of Australians in the crowd too, plenty of international people there for the races. So that would have been really enjoyable. Some big operations taking groups of owners there too, which was great to see. But I think the most interesting thing said all week was by, Winifred Engelbrecht Bruges, who runs the Hong Kong Jockey Club. He mentioned Congchua, which is their mainland China track. It's been open since 2018. They're going to start racing there next October 2026. It will be basically increase the racing in Hong Kong by a third, of course, by half, I should say, going from 2 tracks, Happy Valley and Sha Tin, including Congchua now. They're going to need more horses up there. And he even spoke of perhaps Congchua being based in mainland China, that might be, the start of stronger reasoning for breeding in China. And he could see China, or breeding in China, growing and expanding. It might be sort of 10 years away. Be something, of course, very interesting for global racing, something really positive, I believe. And of course, that breeding stock will have to come from somewhere. And of course, breeding stock involves owners more, and of course, creates more trade between Australasia and China. So I think that's all really positive stuff, and looking forward to Congchua being open next year. Really, really exciting stuff. Real racing at this time of year always so exciting. You're unveiling horses that'll be heading towards the Blue Diamond, the Golden Slipper, but of course horses that'll be prominent in the big sales races. The Karaka Million in late January, mid-January, we've got the Magic Millions Tyrrell Classic, and of course Inglis have a few of their Tyrrell races, big bonus races run as well. The Nursery was run on Saturday. Great story for Paul Murray and Michelle Ritchie, who of course purchased their winner, Where's the Circus, online. So Inglis Digital, again, great story here, coming to the fore with a $1,200 purchase online by a trapeze artist she was, and she just led from pillar to post, jumped, led, kicked away, really nice effort. What we learned from her, I guess there's that throwback to pedigree again. If you have a look at her half-sister, which is the reason why I believe they bought her, she was a place getter in one of these rich Inglis races too, the Inglis Tyrrell Classic, and can't find Slippy. So there you go. That 2-year-old speed or 2-year-old form in pedigrees always coming to the fore in these early 2-year-old races. In Brisbane, we of course had Dream Rocker win, heading towards the Karaka Million for Liam Birchley. Liam Birchley does an incredible job with his 2-year-olds, and of course has won the Karaka Million twice out of Queensland. He won it with Hardline, he won it with Sister Havana, some 10 years ago. He also ran second in that race. So he knows how to win the Karaka Million, gets him qualified in Queensland, and of course heads over and has had many successful raids in the past. So exciting to see Dream Rocker do that. Of course, a Kiwi-bred racing Australia going back to New Zealand. And in New Zealand, funny enough, heading towards the same race, the Karaka Million for Lance O'Sullivan and Andrew Scott, we had Dashing Diva, an Australian daughter Alabama Express. So you've got the Aussie side, filly winning in New Zealand heading towards the Karaka Million, and the New Zealand side, filly in Australia heading towards the Karaka Million to take each other on. Both look like leading chances in that main race. So in Victoria on Saturday, Milson's Point, a 2-year-old winner for Godolphin, of course a 2-year-old by Blue Point, trained by Ciaron Maher, of course not through a sale, so that horse looks like it will head to the paddock and aim up at the Blue Diamond. Through the week, Wyong saw Paradoxium win. Wow. Probably the highlight 2-year-old performance of the season so far. Frank, that strong Breeders' Plate form, of course, Breeders' Plate, 3rd place, get a revengeance since won the Golden Gift. And now we've seen Paradoxium come out of that race, win the Wyong Magic Millions Tyrrell Classic, and win it in such fashion that he is now favourite for the Magic Millions and equal favourite for the Golden Slipper. Extreme Choice doing extreme choice things. He's got something like 15 2-year-old colts from this crop, and looks like having one of the best 2-year-olds in the country again. Interestingly, out of a better than ready mare, so that 2-year-old speed on the sire line and on the dam line, and of course that more than ready sort of blood with Extreme Choice has worked so well already Tiger of Malay, winner of the Sire's Produce in Queensland Group 2, Group 1 place horse, and also Knight's Choice, who won a Melbourne Cup. So that extreme choice over more than ready line mares, something to keep an eye on going forward. Big well done to Bjorn Baker, to Jim Clark, to the Ridgemont team. He looks really, really special. Paradoxium. So much to look forward to in 2026, but first, plenty to get done before the end of the year. We have Queensland inspections of the Magic Million stock heading towards January this week. We've got end of year reports for the stud stock, for the racing stock. So plenty to get done. We have lots of ideas, big plans for 2026. And if you jump on our Kestrel thoroughbreds.com.au website, you can add your email contact details in there and be first to know of what we have coming next. Thank you very much again for listening. Have a great week, everyone.